Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hi there. Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and you are?
I'm Justin MIRIGLIANI. Good to see you, everybody.
Nice to have you with us today, everybody who's watching or listening, whether it's on the live or the replay. We are doing Take Steps, June 25th at Lincoln Financial Field, and Justin and I, work together on this show to celebrate the Crohn's Colitis Foundation, right?
And the amazing work that they do. They really help so many people in this community. And it's such an underserved community when you think about it, because people don't talk about these diseases because they're not fun diseases to talk about. They're, a lot of people think they're bathroom diseases, but we've said this before on many other shows. It's a lot more than that.
It sure is. Kind of a funny segue. I went to the drugstore to pick up my prescription. And one of the two prescriptions that I pick up, it actually just happened right before this. It comes in a big old box, and there's 4 boxes, and it's a big bag, and it won't even fit through the window. And of course, when I go to pick it up, they're looking for like a little basket. I'm like, no, it's the big boxes somewhere. So, everyone's like, oh, what could it be? And I actually just feel like it's Christmas because it's given me a new lease on life. So as embarrassing as it might be, it's a lifesaver.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing how far they've come with medication over even the last 10 years, really. It's gotten better and better. And I, from what I could tell from what I hear from doctors is I don't think they're really close to a cure yet, but I think it's getting to the point where it's going to not be as restrictive as it has been for a lot of people. For myself and Dr. Jacalyn, you've mentioned this before, it can really put a crimp in your style. You have trouble doing things that normal people do, like having a day on the beach. I mean, when you have Crohn's or colitis, the thought of being on a beach with the potential not to have a bathroom anywhere near you is frightening. You just don't know when you're going to have that attack. And, I think we're getting to the point now where people are on more medications to stay and have a reasonably normal life. I don't think it'll ever be completely normal, but it's getting better. And certainly in my case, when it was really progressing into colon cancer, I think now with the medications, I might never have gotten to that point. We might have been able to stop the inflammation long before it got to that serious of a point. So, we're moving in the right direction. People might say, well, is it too late for you? No, it's not. I have an ostomy. That will never change. I'll always have an ostomy for the rest of my life. But if we can make life better for my kids potentially down the road because they have a higher likelihood of getting it, or even people I'm not related to, people that I don't know, I still feel like I have skin in the game, and that's why we do what we do.
Very true. Very well put. A question I have for you and for anyone in the audience who wants to participate with us is we had a couple of shows today, and the topic was nutrition. The topic was our behavior, living with purpose, and not turning to food for pleasure, for example, and that many of the diseases that people have can be tied to emotional stress and situations in life that have not been dealt with. Justin, what do you think about that?
I think there's certainly a correlation between symptoms and emotional distress. I know for me, I've had anxiety, depression, and OCD really from birth. Who knows if that played a role into me later developing inflammatory bowel disease? I don't know. I mean, I don't think the experts know for sure, but it certainly didn't help. It strained on the body. And once I had ulcerative colitis, the more stress I was under, the more symptoms I had. So there was definitely a correlation between how I felt versus uh, whether it was the reason why I got the disease. So, I mean, does it matter at that point? I mean, if it, I think what matters most is that if you are unable to control your stress level and you do have inflammatory bowel disease, you probably will have worse symptoms. It just seems to go hand in hand.
I think where kind of for me the red flag goes up is if 4% of what happens to us and our health is related to our genes, then 96% is related to our behavior and the choices that we make. So if something happened to us early in our life, you were talking about from birth, obviously you have no control over that.
Right.
I kind of get my back up a little in that somehow I willed the disease on myself because I didn't address something in my life, as opposed to I was genetically predisposed or it was the environment or whatever it was. It was really my fault, is what I take away from what I hear a lot of these people talking about. When I say these people, I'm talking about experts in alternative medicine or holistic medicine or coaches or mentors who study the human body.
But if you talk to gastroenterologists and you talk to colorectal surgeons, I can tell you in my experience, I asked my GI, was it something that I did? Is it something, I had just before I got sick, I had bought a home in the Poconos and there was well water. And I said, was that the reason? Did that give me the disease? Um, or was it the anxiety? Was it the depression? Did that give me the disease? And his answer really was nothing you did gave you the disease. It could be luck of the draw. It could be partially genetics and then environmental on top of it. So I don't know. I mean, I think there is probably a difference of opinion between alternative doctors and prescribers and people in the medical community. But um, I'm not going to blame myself, and I don't think you should blame yourself for getting a disease. It's unfortunate. I mean, uh, why do some people get cancer? Some people smoke from their teens all the way through their 90s, and they never have a problem, or at least they never seem to have a problem. Um, Other people get lung cancer by 40, and why does that happen? I mean, what did they do other than obviously they smoked? But I think if you get into the game of trying to find what caused it, it's a losing game because you're never going to figure it out. It's just not going to happen. Science doesn't know yet. There's no test that says, well, because you were depressed for this amount of time, you got ulcerative colitis, or because you didn't resolve this trauma from your childhood, you got Crohn's disease. I don't know if there's a point to trying to figure it out, because I think all you're going to do is spin yourself into circles and probably give yourself more anxiety and frustration in the long run anyway.
All right. So I agree with you, but I'm going to play devil's advocate for a moment.
Sure.
So, what if we have young children and we bring them up with a certain awareness of nutrition and how to express themselves and how to listen and all these other things? Is it possible that the likelihood that they get an autoimmune disease is less because of the choices that we as parents make when our children are younger?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I just think we won't know. But it never hurts to teach your children to have better nutrition. When I was a kid, parents really didn't look at nutrition as much as we do today. So, in my example, if I wanted to, I could go into the kitchen anytime I wanted as a kid and pour myself a glass of Coca-Cola
Mm.
or Pepsi, and just 2, 3 glasses. And my parents really didn't think about that. We went to McDonald's a lot as a kid. And I'm not saying that all of it's always bad to do those things. I think as a treat you could do those things, but we probably ate more red meat than we should have. We probably had more sugar in our diet than we should have. Um, I said to myself in my 20s, maybe I should start thinking more about eating better. And then I said, well, I'm only in my 20s, so I could get away with it a little more. Now I'm 48 years old, so it's a lot more important for me to have a better diet. So at this point, I'm trying to be more vigilant with my kids. My oldest is 16, and my youngest daughter is 11, and uh, I we watch more what they eat. We try to get them into good habits now, because I'll tell you right now, it's hard to break those habits. Like I love soda. I mean, if I could, I would drink it with every meal, and I did for a long time. I would drink soda for not breakfast, but for lunch and for dinner, and then even at night, I might have a glass or two. And it was hard to get out of that habit. So that's really the goal for me, is to get my kids to say, all right, let me watch what I'm eating, let me make sure I know what I'm putting in my mouth, limit the sugar as much as possible. um and once they have those good habits, I think that'll go a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, what kind of soda do you like? Fully leaded, or you like diet or caffeine free, or
I like the sugar.
the whole thing?
I would drink, yeah, my favorite was Coke or Pepsi, and I would especially Coke, and I would drink that. you know, like I said, I mean, sometimes I would, on a weekend, let's say, I would go into the kitchen and pour myself a glass every hour. I mean, it didn't seem like it was a problem, right? It seemed
Mm.
normal. And my parents drank soda too, because they were never brought up to think that sugar was that bad for you. I mean, yeah, it rotted your teeth, but if you brush your teeth, you'll be okay. Well, it turns out that it's not that cut and dry.
Someone I live with has about 5 Cokes a day.
Really,
Yeah, day after day after day. It's interesting, and I don't think I've had a soda seriously in 30 years or more,
really.
and yet I'm the one who has the illness. It's so crazy.
But
It's
that's
like,
my point there. How do you know, right? I mean, do you ever hear about that guy that he in McDonald's, I think, did a special on him because he eats a Big Mac every single day of his life?
this is a recent thing, right? Not the guy from years ago.
I heard about it a while back, but I don't it might be somebody, they might have brought
Somebody's
it up
doing it
again
recently
recently.
on TikTok and
Every
TikTok.
day.
Yeah, every
Every
day.
single
And
day.
his lost weight and his, vital signs are better than they ever were. But I don't know, how does that work?
I think some people, your body, for whatever reason, is predisposed to getting sick if you put it in a certain position, and some people aren't. I think that just there's somewhat of the luck of the draw there.
It's
I mean,
very true. What about this? If you think about during the pandemic, there were some people, whether they got vaccinated or not, who got COVID numerous times. I know
right,
people got it 3 different times.
right.
Why did they get it 3 times? I don't know.
And I think that's part. I think that we are at a point in our civilization where we want answers to everything, and we want answers now. We don't like to hear we don't know. I am into meteorology as a hobby. I have a Facebook page where I predict weather especially along the East Coast where I live, right outside of Philadelphia. And people want to know precisely what is going to happen a week out. We're just not there yet. I mean, we've come so far where we could, with weather models, we could predict a storm that will be approaching about 7 to 10 days out. But the specifics are not going to be there. I mean, if you said to me, um, on my wedding day, let's say, you're going to get married in July 17th at 3 o'clock, is the sun going to be out? We're not there. I mean, it's not possible. Will it ever be possible? Probably not. I don't think we'll ever get to a point where we're like that. And I think medicine, I think about it, they call it practicing medicine. And I think that's a good term. We've gotten so far. Life expectancy has gone up. People are living better longer, right? People in their 70s today are like people who were in their 50s back, in the 1950s or 1960s. You get a 75-year-old today, and they could be running marathons, they could be lifting weights, they could be swimming, they could be doing anything. Um, the last two presidents, well over 70, and they're running the greatest country in the history of civilization. I don't think that would have been possible if you go back to the 50s or the 60s or even the 70s. And I think we're kind of a product of, or victim, I should say, of our own success, because we've gotten so successful at things, medicine, nutrition, weather prediction, all these different things. We've gotten so good at it. Now the demand is for us to be perfect. And I think that's where the problem is.
Of course, you raise great points as always. And if I take the opposite perspective, because I'm on this platform which shows 30 shows a week approximately, I can't
Right.
tell you how many people we have come on who talk about finding alternatives. And for me, this is year, I think, 33 with ulcerative colitis. I've tried so many different things so that I could get myself in remission, and none of them worked. I would be in remission for a short time and then I would sick. And so when I asked these experts for holistic medicine, well, you didn't try the right thing. And maybe you didn't get to the root cause of what's causing the ulcerative colitis. And I'd say, well, what's causing it is disease. What do you mean what's causing it? No,
Right.
you have to actually go and dive deep into what it is that you haven't dealt with in your life. And once you deal with that, then this will go away. So I just shake my head because I'm not sure if I can believe that or not. But then it comes back to I'm a mental case, and that's why I have this disease. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. And I think that's what this leads to when people say, well, you have to figure it out. The greatest minds in medicine haven't figured it out yet. And if they haven't, with all of the education they have, with all of the experience they have, how do we expect people who are not experts to figure it out?
It's a great question. It truly is. And to your point, people are living longer. And the reason they're living longer, in part, is due to the pharmaceutical industry. As much as people
Absolutely.
hate big pharma, it and also, yes, we're looking at our nutrition, we're looking at our behavior, we're looking at our lifestyles. I just think for me, I'm not willing to go without the medication again. I'm not willing to do it because I don't want to go back to being as sick as I was. I'm going to stay on
Sure.
the medicine, and that's it. People can tell me everything they want to tell me till they're blue in their face, but they don't have
Right.
the disease, so they don't know.
Right. And, I ask people when they say to me, do your own research. That's a big topic today, or buzzwords, right? Do your own research. How do you expect me to do the research? I don't have the background. I don't have the education. I don't have the experience. So I go to my doctor and I say, look, this is what's happening. You know, when I had high grade dysplasia, which is a precancerous situation in the colon, precancerous cells in the colon, um, my GI, who Dr. Prieto, just a wonderful, wonderful man, and really saved my life. Uh, you know, I didn't like the words that he was saying when he said, "Look, you're going to have your colon removed and you're going to have an ostomy." I would love to have said, "I think you're wrong, and I think I could beat this with some kind of, you know,
Seaweed. It was
seaweed." I
seaweed.
took that. I
Seaweed.
took marine
You did.
phytoplankton. Yeah, I did. I
What
tried
what
it.
happened?
I mean, I had some benefit, but certainly not enough. And I never came off the medication. I never went into remission. But I mean, I did not want to hear that I was going to have an ostomy, but I accepted that this man knows so much and he's telling me for my own good. And I always ask doctors, if it was your son, if it was your daughter, if it was your husband or wife, what would you tell them to do? And if they say, look, I would tell them to take this medication or have this surgery. I mean, who am I to say no?
Right. I liken it to a mechanic works on cars for years and years and years. They know their cars. They know if you need a carburetor, they know if you
Right.
need new shocks, they know. But yeah, you might have someone who is not a mechanic, but has put flooring into cars. I'm just using a ridiculous example, or
No,
they put
no,
in
yeah,
steering wheels and then they all of a sudden now they are an expert for what the car needs, what the driver needs in the car. And I feel like if you are a gastroenterologist or you are a surgeon, this is what you do every single day. And you do it because you want to help save lives, you want to educate people, you want people to feel better. And all these alternatives, I'm willing to give them a try. I mean, I'm on a
sure.
supplement program right now and my nails are really good, my hair is really good, but I'm not going to take a chance and go off my medication.
And if you ask your doctor, I think you get the same advice that you just said. He or she is going to say, don't go off the meds because the alternatives are not proven. Um, they may help. And my doctor, again, he said, yeah, you could try some of these things. He said, I'm not against alternative medicine. He said, but I'm not going to suggest that you go on to alternative medicine and just get rid of all the pharmaceuticals.
Right, right. But there are people who do. There are definitely people who say, I'm done with this. Some of them get really good results, and then some are worse off. So I think I really want to circle back to the Crohn's Colitis Foundation because
Sure.
the work that they do, and we know some of the employees, they work tirelessly. These events that they put together, it's a lot of work to put together an event, first of all, and for thousands and thousands of people at a major stadium. You can't control the weather. We saw last year it was a
Right.
disaster in the beginning, then the sun came out. Justin, we have some team members who have joined us. I have the link here if people want to join Dr. Jacalyn's Colitis crew or they want to make a donation or both. We would love that. We've
Yeah.
got yourself, we've got my sister, we've got Alcini, and we've got Joe Del Campo.
Oh, Joe joined. Okay, great.
Joe joined. Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
we're going to be broadcasting live from Lincoln Financial Field. And for people who
Yes.
aren't familiar with that, why don't you give us a little bit of background? Because I know you're a football junkie, right?
Yeah, yeah. I've been an Eagles fan my whole life. So Lincoln Financial Field is the home of the NFC champion Philadelphia Eagles. I wish I could say Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, but they fell just short of winning it. But last year was so fun just to go onto the field and see what it's like to be down on that field. I think the stadium holds like 47,000 people, so or almost 50,000, yeah, somewhere around there. And to look up and wonder what it would be like to be a player, it's pretty neat to be on the field. And there were so many activities that you can do at this event that we did last year. I think there was face painting. There was a guy who was old, had gold makeup all over his body, real built guy, and he looked like a statue. And he would hold the pose for a few minutes, and then the kids would think it's a statue, and then he'd come to life, and just neat things like that. And then obviously, if you're a football fan of or a sports fan of any kind, getting to go into the locker room is unbelievable. Just to go in and see the locker room, and they had the Lombardi Trophy that the Eagles had won back in 2017-18, and we got to see that. It's just an amazingly well run event. It's a fun event. It's for such a great cause. Um, we don't. I don't want to make this sound like I'm against other diseases because it's funny. Sometimes people think if you're for something, you have to be against something else. I think we should be funding cancer research. Cancer touches a lot of people. I think that's important. I think we should be funding research for other diseases like diabetes or whatever else it is, kidney disease. But at the same time, I think a lot of times inflammatory bowel disease is put on the back burner because, again, people think that it's a bathroom disease. And it affects so much more than that. It could affect your liver, it could affect your eyes, your joints. Chronic fatigue is a problem with people with inflammatory bowel disease. So it's much more than that. And, while yes, it usually is not fatal, it can lead to fatal conditions. In my case, it was approaching colon cancer. I was really very, very close. I had high grade dysplasia, which are really cells that are becoming cancerous. They're on the verge. There are 3 levels of dysplasia. There's low, medium, and high, and I was at high grade. So, um, for me, it could have been a life or death situation, and I think that's something that people have to consider is how many people are affected by it and how serious it can be. And even though I said that it's not usually fatal, sometimes it is. And we had Ed Bernstein on a show about a year ago, and his daughter Dana Bernstein passed away after she had a colon transplant or a small intestine transplant that just didn't work out for her, and she passed away. And that's a terrible thing. And it's you see so many people that are suffering, and it's just something that I hope that people keep in the front of their minds, that this is we need help just like every other disease needs help.
Yeah, great points. And by the way, we ran that episode again recently. So, and also the one with Rolf. That was,
Yeah,
yeah, that was so people can find it over on the
he's a
YouTube
special guy.
channel. Definitely. I happen to have a flyer here. I'm just going to spotlight myself for a minute.
Yeah.
This is a flyer for Take Steps. We're going to look at the website, but you see the theme is Journey to Mount Remission, June 25th, 2023. And then you see you get to explore the field. There's live music, Camp Oasis Center for children, face painting, so many wonderful activities for you to do while you're there. So not only do you get to walk around inside the concourse, you get to walk around the field, and when you raise as a team $5,000, you get to take a tour of the locker room. So that being said, I'm going to share
Mhm.
my screen so that we can see where our team is. Drum roll, we haven't moved from 587.
Ah,
I'm very happy about the 587, but Justin gave a good portion of that, and our goal is 7,000. So we discussed this last week. People will say a couple things. One, uh, I don't want to give $25. I mean, I would give $5, but it's embarrassing. So I'm not going to give it. I don't want my name associated with the $5. Give the $5 and put anonymous.
right,
Just
right.
do it. We need the money. And then the other thing is, I'm not so sure that the money's going to go to the foundation. Well,
Oh, we
when you
know. Hmm.
it goes directly to the foundation.
Right.
We don't touch the money. It doesn't come to us at all. So
No.
we really do need your support. And again, this event is June 25th. Today is March 16th. We have plenty of time for people to reach into their pockets, write a check, get their credit card out, and really help support us. And again, you're welcome to join our team and have that experience as we're going to be broadcasting live from Lincoln Financial Field.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun too, to be able to do the show at the same time.
It,
Yeah,
it is.
you're right. I think that people sometimes feel like, my $5. Oops, sorry about that. My $5 is
Someone's calling
not.
with a donation right now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's like a telethon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, some people think that $5. What can we do with $5? Well, if 1,000 people put up $5, it's $5,000. I mean, it's just that simple. It doesn't have to be money coming from one particular source at a time. It could be coming from many sources in small chunks. And that's usually how it works.
Justin, that's such an important part because this is another thing I've heard people say, oh, let the rich people give the money. I mean, come on. It's if you think about how much money, I'm just going to give an example. Okay. I don't drink coffee. How much money do people spend on a coffee? They're grabbing a coffee. I don't even know what they cost today, but
Probably like
there's
$7.
$7 for a coffee.
Probably something like that.
Amazing. I've got this drink that I drink here. I'm not going to show what it is. Okay. Passion fruit green tea. This is $3. Okay. $3 for this little
Yeah,
luxury item. I mean, don't have one or two and give the money as a donation.
right.
You know, you can find places to make it work. And I truly believe that I can't say all of us, but many of us know someone, whether it's an arm's length away or immediate family member or friend who has one of these diseases.
Right. And but for the grace of God, there go I, right? So you
Exactly.
never know. I mean, you could be the disease doesn't just attack young people, although that's where it's attacking the most right now, right?
Hmm.
Under 18 is where about up to 18. So it's really starting to grow And again, you wonder why. I mean, is there something? Is it
in
GMOs?
the
Is it
air.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is it something that we're breathing in? Is it something? Who knows? Who knows? But uh, that doesn't mean it only affects people who are in their teens. It affects people all throughout different stages of life. There are people who never had a problem before and are in their 60s, and all of a sudden they have some issues and they find out they have inflammatory bowel disease. It's unfortunate that that happens, but that's why it's a problem for all of us. It's not just one segment of the population. Um, wouldn't it be nice if kids didn't have to worry about this? Wouldn't it be nice if we could say, you have this chronic disease, we might not have a cure for it, but we're getting to the point where you could go on long term remission? Instead of a kid having stunted growth and having to have the embarrassment of running to a bathroom over and over and over again in school, or even worse, having accidents. Most people who have inflammatory bowel disease know what I'm talking about, where you can't make it to the bathroom and you have an accident. We've all done it, and it's got to be. I hated it when I was in my 20s and 30s. I can't imagine what it would have been like as an 8-year-old or a 12-year-old, and having to have that issue. There's a stigma, and I can't help but think about a kid uh, who I guess it was like 3 or 4 years ago actually committed suicide because he was being made fun of because they knew he had a bag and he had Crohn's disease, and he just felt worthless because of this disease. So it affects people not only physically but mentally. And this poor kid lost his life because of a disease that he couldn't control.
It's just heartbreaking. It
It
is.
is.
It is. And when you think about someone being diagnosed at 70 or someone being diagnosed at 7, that
Mm.
7-year-old has all those years they have to go through life with that. And as you and I both know, what it does to you mentally, it's hard to describe actually.
It is. I mean, think about all the things you passed up over your lifetime since you've been diagnosed. You said 30
Mhm.
some years, 33 years.
33.
So in 33 years, I'm sure there were times that you wanted to go for a run, or you wanted to go to the beach, or you wanted to go to a party, and you thought, "Oh my goodness, there's going to be 50 people at this party, and there's 2 bathrooms. I can't go to that party because
It's
if those bathrooms are used, I'm done."
Wait,
Right?
Justin, let's just talk about this, and we're not gonna go into details. It's in addition to them having the bathrooms, who wants to actually go there and do that in that bathroom? Because you got people it's just not it's not.
Right.
So, I am really lucky in that I live in 2 different places that are near the beach, and I haven't gone to the beach in years because of the situation. I can't go. Even when I'm in remission, I can't go mentally because I could who knows what's going to happen.
Right.
So it does a number on you. And I think there's a commercial. I don't remember which drug it's for, but it's really spot on. The person is looking at a calendar and there are some things that were on there and they can't go. They can't go to this, they can't go to that, they can't. And it just does a real number on you. And then what I found was people who you were close with as friends, they just stop asking you because
Right.
they just know that you have an issue and that you're not going to be that much fun anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I know
Yeah,
that's even worse. I mean, when people don't understand it and then they don't have your back when you really need it.
it's so true. But then they're not real friends, right?
That's true. I'll tell you, one of the worst things for me was when I got married. I was right after, it was 2004, and I got diagnosed in the end of 2002. So virtually, I think it was December of 2002. So it was a little over a year since I had been diagnosed. And when I got married, I was wearing adult diapers under my tuxedo. And it's a shame, but throughout the ceremony, I couldn't help but have the thoughts of, what if I need to go? What if I have to leave the altar? If I have an accident in front of all these family and friends? What will it do? Will it ruin Amy's wedding day to have this terrible thing happen? Now I got lucky and I didn't have an accident or a problem, but it was still on my mind. It's a day that I should not have been having to think about anything but getting married, but instead there were things beyond my control that I needed to that preoccupied my mind. And that's I'll always look back on that as a bittersweet thing, because obviously it was wonderful to get married, and she's the love of my life, and that was a great day. But there is some bitterness when I look back and think of what I had to worry about that day. It's something that I wish I didn't have at that time.
Oh, I didn't know that story. I'm sorry.
I mean, it worked out, but there's always that part of me that wishes I could have enjoyed the day more if I wasn't so concerned.
Well, guess what? Maybe you should have a second wedding.
There you go, right? I'll have to talk to her about that.
Hello, Amy. I just have an idea for you. So, I think as we come to the end of our program, what I really want people to take away is that if you are diagnosed, if you know someone who's diagnosed, there is help, there is hope, there is inspiration. And I would just ask people to consider getting involved with the Crohn's Colitis Foundation. I mean, I'm a volunteer. Okay. I'm not getting paid. Justin's not getting paid. We're here out of the goodness of our hearts because we truly believe in what the foundation is doing. And we truly believe in helping other people see that you can have a life, you can find happiness, you can be fulfilled. You just have to trust in your doctors, your care team, and also the Crohn's Colitis Foundation.
Absolutely. And again, I think it's important for us to stress that don't ever think that you did this to yourself, that you're did something bad, or it's a punishment, or some people might believe God punished you for something that you did. It's not that. It's not that. It's just, some people get lucky in life and everything comes up roses all the time, and other people don't. And you know, um, why do people get in car accidents? Was it something that they did wrong? I mean, sometimes it's beyond their control.
Exactly. And I think also that old expression, if you throw your problems in a pile and somebody else's, you're going to walk away with your own because when you see what else could possibly happen to you. So we are inviting you, you watching, you listening, to join us June 25th at Lincoln Financial Field. We will be walking around the concourse, around the field. I don't know if I will be. I'll probably be stationed on the field at the tables. We're going to have one table for USA Global TV and radio. And then I believe we'll have another table where I'll be doing book signings. So, Justin, I'll need
Awesome.
you to run the show.
Yeah, that'd be
So,
fun. That's what we did last year. It was fun.
yes, it is definitely fun. So, what does it take for you to get involved? Go to this link. And for people on the radio or podcast platform, I'm sorry, but the link is too long. Go to
Yeah.
takesteps.org, I think it is, or the Crohn's Colitis Foundation.org, and look for the Take Steps event in Philadelphia. Our team is Dr. Jacalyn's Colitis Crew. I don't know if you realize it used to be Dr. J's Colitis Crew.
Oh, yeah. But
Yeah, we're getting
that could get confusing.
fancy. And the event typically, I think registration starts at 10. The event starts at 11. There's a general session. Then there's the walking around the concourse onto the field. And if you've raised $5,000, I should say for us, when we raise $5,000, because we know we can count on you out there to
Yeah.
make a donation, then our team will get to walk into the Eagles locker room. I've done that myself, not last year, but for another event. And it's a pretty amazing feeling. It's very neat, by the way,
It really
very
is.
clean and organized and attractive, even if you think about locker rooms that you've been in growing up.
This is not a high school locker room.
It's not your high school locker room for sure. So, Justin, anything you want to share with our audience about what you've gone through and where you are today, or about the event?
Sure. I mean, I was diagnosed back in 2002, as I said, and had the ostomy surgery in 2015. And it wasn't the end of my life. I mean, I know that a lot of times people feel like these diseases are a death sentence, or if you have to have the surgery for an ostomy, that's a death sentence and your life's never going to be the same. No, it's not going to be the same, but that doesn't mean it can't be good. And I get to do so many different things. I get to play hockey, I get to lift weights, I get to be a dad and a husband, I get to run my business. uh, I've just finished a book that uh, Red O'Laughlin is going to help me with that, and Red from being on the many programs here on the channel. So um, just don't give up. And one thing I want to stress too is that I know when you see us, you always see us upbeat and happy, and that's how we're going to always present ourselves on the show. But that doesn't mean we don't have down days. there are days where I don't have the fight in me, and I'm feel sorry for myself and say, why me? Why am I going through this? Why is this happening to me? But I think the key is to not let that become a lifetime of that, or even months of that. You could be down for a day or two, you could be down for a couple weeks, and it happens to the best of us. But um, the key is that you're going to rebound from it. And no matter what you're facing, whether it's inflammatory bowel disease or any other kind of ailment, or the loss of a loved one, whatever it is, you will eventually get through this and you'll come out on the other side much better.
I so appreciate you for saying that. It's yesterday I had a really low energy, low vibration day, and because I have facial eczema again here, and just so tired of it. And because people see your face, right? There's nowhere you can hide it. And anyway, a friend said a few words to me and I kind of snapped out of it. And I thought to myself, okay, so that should be your worst problem in life. Get over yourself. But we do get sucked into these black holes sometimes, and it's hard to get out. Why me? And then again, it's why not me? Why not me?
Right.
At least this devil that I know. I don't want any other devils. I'll just take what I have and I'll make the best of it.
Yeah. And I have clinical depression, so some days for me it's really really tough to try to have a positive spin on things. And even with that, you try so many different medications. There are so many antidepressants out there, and usually it's a cocktail of medications that help it and get you there. And I'm still working on that. So, um, I have days where one day, a week ago, I slept from 9:30 one night to 10:30 the next morning on a Saturday night into Sunday, and I didn't want to do anything. I just didn't want to. I had no fight in me. But that next day, I did. After I got
Yeah.
up, I said, "All right, enough is enough."
And you always have a smile on your face every time I see you, whether it's here or when we've been
Try.
in person. Before we close out, where are you in the goal that you've set for yourself in Guinness Book of Records, crushing this weightlifting goal?
Yeah, so I'm about to become the first ostomate that I know of to bench press 405 pounds. I'm about up to 385, 390. It's hard because as you get closer, it goes much slower, and of course, injuries come up, and that's always going to take you down a peg or two. But I was in the gym today, and I was working on my biceps and doing a lot of curls, and I was throwing around weight that I haven't thrown around ever in my life before. So I'm stronger than ever, and I think by the end of the year, I'll have it.
I'm so pleased for you because I know how important this is and how hard you've been working. I have a question. When you mentioned biceps, I have been a personal trainer for many years, not currently, but I never understand. You see the guys in the gym, they love the biceps.
Yeah.
What is up with that? And then they're dropping them on the ground. The whole place is shaking. I don't understand what is up with guys and the free weights.
Well, free weights are the most. If you're going to do something, if you're going to set a record, or if you're going to lift weight, that is you alone. When you're working with machines, the machine does some of the work for you.
Right.
So that's why you don't see any competitions where it's not free weights. That's where all the competitions are on free weights. Uh, yeah, I mean curls. There are two schools of thought on curls. Some people say don't do them because they're an isolation exercise and they're not worth it. And then you have other people who say bomb your biceps because that'll make them grow, grunt and grow. Um,
Grunt and grow.
yeah, yeah, that's the
So that's
saying, grunt and
actually
grow.
something that people are telling people to do.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like everything else, though, right? Some people say no, don't do biceps. Other people say do biceps every other day. What do you do? Now, I believe in the instinctive training principle, which means you know what's best for your body. So I know that if I bomb my biceps, if I really hammer them hard and use heavy weight, they're going to grow, and I want to get a lot stronger. Somebody may do the same exercises and not see the gains that I see with it. Then I may try something else and they have a ton of success with it and I don't. It's the instinctive training principle, I think, really was one of the biggest keys.
But here's where I want to challenge you. Are you
Yeah.
telling me that you can't have free weights and do curls without grunting, groaning, and slamming the weights after you're finished doing your set?
I'll tell you this. Today I had 80-pound dumbbells in each hand. So
Wow,
yeah, I mean that's a lot of weight.
it is.
And I did a few curls with it. I could feel at the end of my last rep the tendon starting to get really sore, and I was afraid it was going to rip. So I let go. I just dropped the weight. So I didn't, and I don't do it for, hey, everybody, look at me. I'm lifting heavy weights. I was alone. So there was nobody in the gym with me. So whether I dropped it or not didn't really matter. But I did drop it because I was afraid if I held too long that the tendon might tear. And then you got a really big problem.
Okay, so here's my next question.
Yeah.
Is it possible that you were lifting too much weight?
School of thought on heavy weight is you get mass from heavy weightlifting. So if you want to, I think it's called hypophysis. I can't pronounce the word, but it's when you keep tension on the muscle constantly. A lot of bodybuilders do that. They'll lift like within a range of 8 to 12 reps. Whereas a power lifter, if I'm going to try to lift on the bench press, I do what I can do maybe 1 to 3 reps. So I load up the bar with like 340 and then do like 4 reps with it. So I keep the rep range low because I want to grow mass.
Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes
So it
sense.
depends on what you want to do.
I just feel like in regards to that and anything else, I feel like if you breathe properly, you can use your breath as a tool to help you get the next rep. But when you start making unknown animal sounds, I don't feel that that is actually helping you do what you have to do. If you breathe in through your nose, breathe out through your mouth, if you use your breathing as a discipline, like we do in meditation or runners do or anything else, it always I shouldn't say surprise me, but we've got tennis on here. Seems like 24 hours a day, and you hear some of the tennis players, "Ah, ah," like why do you have to make those noises? Just breathe properly. And I don't know, is it me?
No, I think there's something to it, but I will tell you, if you ever watch like a powerlifting competition, and especially the deadlift where there's a lot of internal pressure, I mean, these people you'll see their nose start to bleed. Some of them have ear bleeding because the pressure is just so immense. They have so much power. Um, so you better believe when they're done, when they're out of gas, they drop the weight. A lot of them have to have blood pressure taken right afterwards. They have to have a doctor ready because, I mean, I have heard of power lifters who actually passed away from the deadlift,
Oh, I can imagine.
aortic dissection and things like that. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. There's a
Well,
lot of
I'm
pressure.
just going to encourage people who are not professional
That crazy?
bodybuilders, the crazy guys at the gym on the weekend, stop grunting and groaning, please. Please just breathe properly and do us all a favor.
I don't grunt much, but I do drop weights. I definitely drop them.
Watch out for feet. That's all I have to ask.
Yeah.
Justin, tell people what it is you do when you're not here with me on this platform and how you can help them.
Yeah, so I'm a corporate instructor. I train people on the Microsoft applications like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Access, Visio, Project. I also do soft skills classes, things like project management, time management, leading productive teams, empowerment. So if you're looking to grow your company, or if you are looking for a new job maybe and you want to have some more skills to put on your resume, come to me. I'd be happy to train you as a one-on-one. I do corporate training where I train up to 16 people in a day. Usually they're full day courses. And my website is www.justforyoutc, all spelled out, JUSTFORYOUTC.com. And the other thing I do is I run a charity to help support the Crohn's Colitis Foundation. It's not affiliated with it, but I help support them and the United Ostomy of America. And we're going to start up again now that COVID is hopefully behind us. Celebrity NHL hockey games to raise money and awareness for inflammatory bowel disease. And that is www.checkmatescharity.com. You can email me at either one, Justin at justforutc.com or Justin at checkmatescharity.com.
Thank you so much, Justin. And by the way, I forgot to mention that our guest couldn't make it today. So Robert Zeligson was unable to be here, but he'll be here on a future show. So Thank
Looking
you,
forward to
Robert.
it.
We look forward to having you. So one quick announcement before we go. We are at USA Global TV and Radio. We are hosting our very first retreat. It's going to be in Southern Florida, and it's going to be in October, and it is by invitation only. Ooh. So if you get an invitation, I hope that you'll consider coming. Let's take a look at what you can expect, and then we'll close out the show. Justin, thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody
Thank you.
out there, and we'll look forward to seeing you. Our shows are on Mondays and Thursdays when people sign up. So we'll see when the next one is. I'm not sure. Is it the first of the month?
The Entrepreneur and So Much More. Yeah, it's going to be the first Monday of April.
And then this show is right after.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll see you again soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Imagine yourself at our very first retreat. Live, learn, teach, and inspire alongside your hosts, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck and Philip Sykes. In partnership with USA Global TV and Radio and the British School of Excellence. Coming soon in 2023. Email us at info@usaglobaltv.com for more information.